joining us for another edition of Texas Insider TV. I'm Jim Cardle. Though the price at the pump may not be gathering as much attention today as it was a month ago, with early voting in Texas going on and the May 29th primary approaching, something called the Texas Railroad Commission may be something voters want to know about.
The Railroad Commission has not regulated railroads since the late 80s, so it has nothing to do with railroads anymore. The name is a misnomer, and hopefully this next legislative cycle, the legislature will change the name. I think that's important.
We caught up with Railroad Commission candidate Christi Craddick the other day and asked her specifically what differentiates her from the 10 other candidates vying for 2 positions on this year's ballot.
You know, I think that's an important question because there are several people in this race. The best thing I can say is, one, I grew up in Midland, so I'm part of the oil and gas industry, and as everybody knows who's watching this, the Railroad Commission has absolutely nothing to do with railroads and everything to do with oil and gas. So I think it's important to understand the industry from all parts. My family's in the business, as am I. You mentioned I'm an attorney. I do oil and gas, tax, water, environmental law. And I think that's important. You know, a commissioner at the end of the day is an appellate judge, and you need to understand the law, the rules, and the regulations. But the other piece that really sets me apart as far as experience is that I've represented people from all parts of the industry. So pipeline companies, operators, big and small, and mineral owners, property owners, both mineral and surface owners. So I think you need a good basic background for everybody and have a good understanding of all parts of the industry.
With Houston being the energy capital of the world, Harris County constitutes a large voting bloc for this Republican primary. Republican leaders George Strait, Paul Betancourt, Gary Pollan, and others recently endorsed Craddick, and we asked what that might mean to her campaign.
First and foremost, I think everybody agrees if you do nothing, you vote against Obama. We've got to get rid of the federal government that we have and the leader in the federal government. Nobody likes, and it is clear from everybody you talk to that Obama doesn't like Texas, doesn't understand this industry, and that is a detriment to oil and gas in general. But when you're talking to leaders in the industry, they want to make sure the Railroad Commission is not the EPA, quite frankly, or the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Service, or any of those federal agencies. They want to make sure the Railroad Commission continues to have fair, consistent regulations so they, as operators and other people in the industry, can continue to create jobs in this state. You know, this state is the job creator. The oil and gas industry is 20% of the industry in this state is from oil and gas, and I think that's important to continue to have good industry, but you've got to be fair and balanced. So you've got issues all over the state, but they want to make sure we continue to create jobs.
So with the Tuesday, March 29th primary approaching, Christi Craddick, Barry Smitherman, Greg Parker, Warren Chisholm, and 6 other candidates will all be on the ballot, vying to become the next Texas Railroad Commissioner and oversee the oil and gas industry in the state of Texas. Be sure and vote on May 29th. Be sure and join us again for another edition of Texas Insider TV. Thanks for joining us. I'm Jim Cardle.